So happy to see him back.
Wait, maybe I got that wrong. Maybe he was in like one of the X-Men movies too. Oh no, wait,
So this recipe is one I found on YouTube called gluten-free chocolate walnut brownies. Eat clean with Shira Bokar. I think this is part of the Martha Stewart brand. Anyway, I'm starting here with coating the pan with olive oil, and then I am using parchment wax paper, and you will see me coat that as well. That's going to help the brownies not stick to the pan, and you will be able to remove the brownies really easily.
I don't know, debuts that I think are really interesting. So the Royal Hotel, I guess, I'm looking forward to seeing if that's going to premiere at Venice.
no, it's a great call out. I love that. That's awesome. Okay, Cody.
Alright, I have a pair of noodles that are kind of tangentially linked and a little bit unlikely to be direct and I look forward to possibly, but I guess being who I am, a spooky bitch, I will be seeing Saw X in theaters or
The next ingredient I'm using is dark chocolate, and it needs to be 75% or greater.
Matt, you are the only other person that I.
So next, it is time to melt the chocolate. Funny fact here, I used a plastic bowl, and I did end up sort of burning or melting that bowl. So make sure you have a glass bowl. I think a clear glass bowl would be preferred.
Everybody is in mine.
Wow, I love that. Good, that's smart.
I hope it happens for him because he's an actor that I've been wanting to see get that level of recognition now for quite some time. And based on what I've heard, I haven't seen it since one.
I agree. I think it's good being here.
Lots of great things to look forward to. You know, so many here. But I do want to then segue over into our trailers. Before we do that, I want to remind everyone to head on over to the poll page at nextbestpicture.com. Cast a vote. Let us know which one you are looking forward to. 2023. And we will announce the winners of that on next week's show. So, trailers. It's so funny. These two trailers are going, I'll be like looking at what he's doing and saying, like he doesn't have that, that same spark they used to. But I mean, can you blame anyone once they're at that age? I don't think so.
just doing the movies that make him feel comfortable. He's trying to get back in 2008. It's been like 15 years. He's still
who got so much exposure last year due to Everything Everywhere All at Once and is in his 90s and has never gotten that kind of recognition. Mel Brooks has been not really recognized throughout his career. I don't know, this whole announcement really just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Since career as a film editor too, I mean, worked on some pretty big movies.
Next ingredient to use is maple syrup. Try to use a really good actual maple syrup, which is not what I did.
They both have, careers that you can make like a nice montage out of, and that could be worth celebrating. I guess the timing with Black Panther is like, they are kind of doing that. I don't know if I think it's like weird or not though.
More olive oil, this time into the brownie mix.
I'm inclined to believe it. I'm inclined to believe that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, other Academy news. They invited 398 new... The thing that we always find very fun is to see, who from last season gets invited. And also, too, who are people that you already felt like were members, but then you find out...
Next up, we have light brown sugar.
I have some ideas on this one.
Go for it.
Gareth Edwards, the creator, I suspect could be one of the big premieres of this year's TIFF. Much like in the same way, something like...
Next we have 2 eggs. Now you want to beat these into the mixture one at a time.
World premiere.
Nah, I actually think that's gonna be a
Talked about this, but Night Bitch, directed by Marielle Heller, starring Amy Adams. I'm a huge fan of Marielle Heller, who's made movies.
Mariel Heller, if I remember correctly, premiered Won't You Be My
Yeah.
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Freud's last session and the collaboration, those seem like maybe they could be Tim movies.
I do think so, yeah.
Is Foe coming out this year? If that's still on track, maybe that.
If it is, that would make sense too for Tim, but I'm not 100% certain.
Priscilla and Challenger, my two most anticipated. I mean, I'm guessing there's Dennis.
Priscilla, I think, is going to skip Tim and go to New York.
Actually. And the man hasn't made very many movies, but nearly all of them are great.
So next up is baking cocoa, or cocoa powder. However you say that, or whatever you prefer to use.
Was to stay with Arthur.
I do think it was the correct decision, yes.
But it doesn't feel right to be like.
For the sequel.
Oh my god.
Sure, like a Twilight.
BT Movie Review Hour, do you think that Joyride could get any awards contention from the Globes, Critics' Choice, or a screenplay nomination even? No to the screenplay. Globes is interesting. I think that there is a world where comedy musical could contend, but something tells me, the Jennifer Lawrence, No Hard Feelings,
Next to the mix will be baking soda. Remember, after you add each ingredient, you want to stir, mix, and you can do that by hand with a fork, a mixer, an electric mixer, but you want to stir each ingredient into the mix. Next up is just a little bit of salt.
I would absolutely not make myself. I was there too for now, but you make a good point that like even stuff like Toy Story and WALL-E couldn't get in.
Years of 5. I know the passion is there, and it's just a question of now. What needs to happen is a lot of these movies that still need to come out later on in the year. Some of them need to fix that.
And now we add almond flour instead of regular flour. This is gonna make it light, and it's gonna make it more healthier than using flour.
Exploring using AI to write their articles.
Oh gosh, no.
Fuck that. I'm sorry. Fuck that. I have no patience for that.
So yeah, I mean, not just in terms of the industry, but also those of us that cover the industry. AI is a really real threat for just taking away all of our jobs.
Look, AI can be curators too and take over programmers' jobs. Like it's one of those things where it can make a movie out of it, but it will never be the same as having real people involved. So yeah, it's a real big concern.
Fuck, I'm just gonna take animated. Nice try. Somebody can take that with their own two hands and have it look better than what it looks like.
No, that's really what it comes to.
Next to the mix is dark chocolate chips. By measuring, I didn't have the correct sort of tool to measure, but when I calculated what I needed, it was 8 tablespoons. So this is what I am attempting to add to the mixture. It's not perfect or exact, but I don't think you have to be in this case.
Well, thanks, Matt. You can find
And seriously, if you guys have not ever seen the channel, it's more than just reacting to nominations and wins, which I think is how a lot of people discover your channel. But over time, you guys have done some of the best in-depth analysis into awards predicting and
Something I add to every dessert that I make is zest of lemon and zest of orange. So in this step, you're gonna see I'm adding orange zest and lemon zest, and I don't really have like a sort of amount that I add. I just add a good amount, to me, it always gives whatever dessert or sort of baked good, whatever you're making, it just gives it an extra kick of citrus and a freshness that, to me, it just makes any baked good taste much better.
I gotta say, like, you know, when Jay told me, just incredibly huge news, left and right. And as it turns out, nothing's really happened.
And of course, for most of our desserts, we're going to use a little bit of vanilla extract.
Getty Bogosian, not stand near any windows above, like, the second floor for, like, the rent.
I pushed that poor lady right out of a window.
I mean, she fell. I mean, it's really worth it. That, you know, his boy, his PMC, was, you know, rolling tanks about 100 miles away from Moscow.
Yeah, it is a fascinating situation. It does ultimately, I don't want to get too far into this, but it does ultimately leave him vulnerable, right? That given that Prigozhin could do this and could, like, really go out, like, I don't know all over these guys as you think you do.
So now we're going to add chopped walnuts. This is, you know, just sort of the thing that you add to give it some texture and some added flavor. Of course, if you have nut allergies or anything like that, you want to steer clear. But this is what is next in this recipe.
Because if they think that Putin is vulnerable, someone will come to him. Like, they're not just going to let it slide. That's not how the history of Russia has ever worked, and it certainly is not the way it works when you have people like him involved.
So there you go. That's our foreign policy coverage.
Yeah, done and done. Done and dusted. You're welcome, everyone. TikTok, that kind of stuff from this. You're not going to get those for this week. Perhaps next week. We're on audio only as it's still.
You could put a.
We gotta take care of it.
16 brownies.
What are you supposed
ready
to? We
to
gotta
go.
starve.
And all we have to do
Hey,
is
that's
press
a
these
huge, like, you know,
two certain plate.
$10,000 dinner. We don't want to.
Ready to be
Looking out for you.
You get a slice of millionaire, you get a
These
slice of
brownies
his
are almost
brothers,
no
and a whole lot
We're using all full ingredients. Can't wait to get these guys
hard.
on the side.
So we're going to bake this for 30 minutes at 350. And you can always check with the toothpick. If the toothpick comes out clean, then the brownies are done, just like with any cake recipe. And you'll see me do this shortly. If it comes out clean, then that means it's ready. I'm just gonna let this cool off. And then we'll figure out what we're gonna do next. But yeah, just gonna, smells good. Gonna let this cool off, and then we will cut it and put it in a container, and I'll show you that part once it cools off. I'm just checking on the brownies. I'm touching them and they're very firm. So I think they've cooled off enough. I mean, they're firm, but they still give. So these are supposed to be like super moist, fudgy brownies. I got the recipe from a video that I saw on YouTube from the Martha Stewart brand, and I'll try to put more information about that in the video right here. But yeah, it's also in my playlist for food. If you click on my playlist for food, which has a couple of recipes and things that I've done, and actually I think there's only 2 things there, but I'm gonna try to add more to that food playlist. Let's see how the brownies look right now. I think I can take them out and possibly cut them. I think they are cool enough for me to do that. So these are in a spring formed pan, but look how easy that was to just take out. Pan just needs to be washed. So I use this parchment wax paper. That's cool. I think I'm gonna just let it sit here a little bit more, cool off a little bit more. Put this in the sink to wash. I'll cut these up maybe in another hour once it cools all the way down. So let's go ahead and cut into this.